it's not in there, just it's not happening. My brain is, I'm not going to remember it. It doesn't exist. It never happened, right? So that's definitely a real thing. But when it comes to the daily 5, the reason that this is helping people get more done and be way more successful is that you are going to have to start weighing those things on your to-do list. Meaning you are going to, and I recommend doing this every night. Why? Because whether you're shuffling kids around or you're just still drinking your coffee or whatever, or if you sit down and you're ready to work, it doesn't matter. If you spend that first amount of time in the morning trying to get organized and shuffling stuff and logging on your computer and figuring out what you're supposed to do, you're losing too much time. Like, that's go time. You got to be ready to go. So I recommend doing the daily 5 the night before. I do have a planner that you guys, it's totally free. You can find that. I've got a book on it too. But you can just get a good old fashioned like piece of paper or type it in your Google Calendar, which is actually what I do. And you're just going to write 1 through 5. And the way that this method works is that you actually have to write the things in order, meaning you have to rank them by priority. So learning how to prioritize by nature, by definition, will make you more productive. And the way that we prioritize is by what are those things that are going to shift the needle the furthest. Now, a lot of times these end up being the tasks that we avoid, oftentimes because they're hard or they're uncomfortable, right? So if you are trying to grow your online presence, for example, right now in whatever business that you have, and you know you've been told by everybody that you've got to start doing Facebook Lives and you are not doing Facebook Lives, that should be your number 1 thing on your daily 5 tomorrow. I know it's hard. I know it's uncomfortable, but it is the thing that is going to not only shift the needle, by the way, but it's going to grow you the most as a human, because getting over that first one, that scary thing, like it's just huge. And then you're going to go from there. Now, the way that the daily 5 works in implementation, so now it's the next day, you've got your daily 5, you did it the night before, you ranked them in order of priority, you sit down, you're like, okay, it's go time. You cannot move on to tasks 2 through 5 until you knock down number 1. You literally have to knock down the things in order. And the reason that this is so effective is because it is not about getting all 5 things done. It is about focusing your time and attention on the things that are the most significant. Now, it might not even be business related. Let's say you have not done laundry in a week and you have like humans depending on clothes, right? Like that could be your number 1. Now, I personally keep a separate daily 5 for my family and my business. And when I was freelancing full time and had a bunch of different clients, I had my own daily 5 per client. So the daily 5 works really, really beautifully with time blocking. Now, if you are not currently time blocking and you're watching this, you have got to start time blocking. Just trust me. Like it's going to change your life. And the reason that it's so effective is, again, you know what you're doing at a certain time. It becomes a non-negotiable. Just the act of putting it on your calendar is going to give it that priority and necessity that you need. It's also going to help you with focus, which I think in this day and age with social media, and there's so many choices. Like the fact that you're choosing to sit here and watch this video, that was a choice. Now you might also be browsing Facebook right now as you're listening to this video. Like, stop, get off. But like, you know, we are bad at focusing these days. And again, the reason the daily 5 is so instrumental in helping set you up for success is that it's not just helping you focus and know what to focus on, but it's forcing you not to procrastinate and to focus on the things that are truly going to become game changers in your business.
I love all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And so let's say you don't finish them all. Let's say you only get through 1 through 3. Okay, so you've done your first Facebook Live. Okay, you weren't going to do that this week. Let's be honest, right? Like, so you got that done. You did 2, you did 3. It's all good. You can go to bed that night knowing that you made a really, really big impact towards getting 1 step closer to your goals. Maybe your priorities change for the next day, just depending on how you set your schedule, or maybe numbers 4 and 5 move up to numbers 1 and 2 for the next day. It kind of depends. Again, you have to use your judgment based on your goals for moving forward. But I promise you, it takes some commitment to become a habit. But once you start to implement it, and even if you just use the methodology, you don't even really write it down, but you're just kind of like, okay, Lauren said I need to prioritize things that are going to shift the needle. Okay, this is the thing I know I need to do, but I'm kind of scared. Okay, I'm just going to do it. Lauren said it. Like, even if you just take the principles of the daily 5 and you start being brave and implementing them and staying focused, you will start to see a change in the things that you accomplish.
I love all that. That's such good advice, and I definitely understand, and I'm sure so many people do, about the lack of focus these days, and so many like things hammering at us from different directions, and how to maintain that focus as an entrepreneur. So here's the next question I have for you. How do we know when it's time to start outsourcing in our business, right? A lot of entrepreneurs, I have struggled with this as well, are like, oh, I want my hands in everything so I can control it all and make sure everything's just so. But how do we let go of that and know like when it's okay? So this needs to get off my plate. That needs to get off my plate. Let's hire a freelancer to take care of that.
Cool. Can I change the question?
Sure.
This is my interview. No, you can't. Okay, I want to change the question just slightly to knowing when to outsource, not just knowing when to outsource in your business. And the reason that this is a really important difference is that when I was first launching this iteration of my business, the Free Mama and the Free Mama movement, I had 3 kids. One of them was a baby, right? And a toddler and like a little mouthy elementary school daughter. So I had a lot going on at home. I was still freelancing full time because that's where all my income was coming from. I wasn't making money in this new business yet. I was making money as a freelancer. I wasn't ready to outsource in my business. I didn't have any income coming in. What I did need to do was create more time in my life. Right? I've got kids and they're only in preschool 4 hours a day. So I have 4 hours a day without children around. That was it. And I had a full book of business with freelancing clients. So what I had to learn to do was outsource anything from my life that I didn't have to be the person doing. Mm-hmm. So again, I work with moms, but these examples truly are applicable for anybody. You just have to think about it. We ended up hiring a cleaning company. We had never, ever, ever done this before because I had the mentality that if I could do it, I should do it. Mm-hmm. Do you all know that there's actually scientific research on the fact that people who outsource things they don't enjoy are happier? Mm-hmm. This is actually, there's science around this. There's data around this. I can actually confirm it has almost been a year since we hired the cleaning company, and I am happier than I have ever been because I don't have to clean toilets anymore. And more importantly than that, I have 2 hours every single week back in my life. And I can make more in my business as an entrepreneur during those 2 hours than what I pay the cleaning company. Mm-hmm. Another example would be groceries. So I talk to so many women who are like, but I like to pick out my produce. And I'm like, I know, I do too. But do you want that hour and a half back in your life of not struggling through a grocery store with your children? Can you let this one thing go and spend 10 minutes online ordering them and then just driving through and picking them up to get that hour back in your life? So where are the other, I'm looking outside because I utilize my neighbors literally all the time. Do you need to outsource childcare, whether you're a mom or a dad? Do you need to outsource somebody taking care of walking your dogs in the afternoon so you can have that extra 30 minutes to focus on your business? And for anybody watching right now who is at a full-time job while launching a business, I really hope you hear me loud and clear that I started this by saying you have to create time. We all only have 24 hours in a day. Where can you let someone else step in for a minute? Is it a meal delivery thing? And I get that all these things cost money. So there is a mindset shift that has to happen, right? And it's what I had to go through between that, well, I can do this, so I should do this kind of thing. No. To be happier and to have the time to grow your business where you want it to go, you have to learn to let go. So you have to delegate, you have to outsource. Maybe your kids or your spouse can start doing something around the house that you were previously doing, and they can start to help you so that, again, you get those little chunks of time back to really invest in the work that you're doing. So now I'm going to go back to your original question. So when is it time to outsource in your business? It is time to outsource in your business when you'll probably, if you're like me, you will probably physically feel it, where you feel like you're hitting a wall. You're like, I got nothing left to get, okay, this growing pains, right? And for me, it was also mental, but there was a physical reaction of I need help, right? If your mind is literally going I need help, you probably need help. If you have any cash flow coming in your business and you are looking to grow to a certain, if you look at your big vision and eventually you'll have team and you have cash flow coming in at all, if your basic needs, meaning you're feeding your family and your mortgage is paid, your basic needs are being met, reinvest back in your business. Like if you're looking to grow big, that would be my recommendation. Whether you get an assistant, the first person I outsourced to was actually a copywriter. The reason I'm a decent writer. I don't like it. I don't enjoy it. And because I don't enjoy it, even when it's number one on my daily 5, I will procrastinate, meaning it takes me a long time to do. Well, we just talked about creating more time. So for me, writing literally shrunk my day in half because I didn't want to be doing it, even though I was okay at it. So the first thing I outsourced was like, okay, I'm going to pay this person this money to do it. She can crank it out, right? She knows all about retainers. I pay her to, like, it's good. But the value that gives me to not have to do it, to get something off my plate that I don't enjoy is brilliant. But I really think most of us will know. You will have a physical and if you're having breakdowns regularly, it might be time to outsource. If you got into business to have more freedom and flexibility and you're working 10 to 14 hours a day, it might be time to outsource. Or if you don't have revenue coming in and you're working that much, you need to start with the daily 5 because you're working too hard on the wrong things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you got to kind of like, this whole interview, you got to take it all at once. Like, you know what I mean? Because you could outsource stuff, but if you're still not focusing on revenue generating activities, you're not going to be able to afford that person for very long. Yeah. So it kind of goes hand in hand. But I'm a big fan of outsourcing and delegating. 1 year ago, I had my copywriter. I now have a team of 6. I'm huge on it. And that's because I'm very, very protective of my time. So I typically work 5 hours a day, 4 days a week. Not to say I won't, check in on my phone or be answering questions in my Facebook group, but my personal, like being a successful, happy entrepreneur, what that means to me is being able to live the life that I want to live. So I could make more money, but I'd have to work a lot more. And I don't really want to do that. I'd rather go hang out with my kids at the park. And so how can I put in the time? And I work very hard when I'm working, right? I use my daily 5. I'm very intentional. And then anything that I don't have to do, like it doesn't have to be me, I now have somebody else doing.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. This is so helpful. I think this is such a, so many times in talking with people about successful entrepreneurship, we talk about various things like mindset, or here's how to do a Google ad, or here's how to use Hootsuite or whatever, right? But this
also important.
Right, all amazing things. And if we could all just, get to this daily 5 and be prioritizing like this, it's so crucial. So here's another thing that I notice as an entrepreneur. There are times when I tell myself that something is really important and I spend time on it, and then I realize, like, usually with the help of my partner helping me realize such a thing, like, wait a second, how important is this task, right? Like, is this really important, or is this something we can simplify, right? So could you talk a little bit about, right, like, how we can simplify certain things we might think, oh, this one thing that I do in the business is so important, but is it really, or is it just taking extra time? Is it really, making you more money or freeing up your time, or do you know what I mean? Like, how do we simplify?
Can I answer my own? I was just gonna hijack your.
Lauren's like, I got a new question again. Sure, go for it.
Is this the most annoying interview you've done yet? No. So here's what I want to say. I want to say that if you are trying to do, and you kind of answered this without knowing it, but if you are trying to do business alone, you are doing it wrong. Now, I don't mean you have to have a partner like Andy. I don't have a partner. I have a team now, but that took me many, many months to be able to even outsource my first thing, right? I had no money coming in for a long time. So get an accountability partner. If you can, get a business coach. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Oh, I got goosebumps because this is coming from experience, y'all. Like, if I could go back and talk to 2014, 2015 Lauren, and I'm a millennial, I'm an old millennial, but I'm a millennial. I was told I'm a special snowflake and you're so unique and like all these things. Here's the deal. If you're trying to reinvent the wheel, you are making things harder than they have to be. So one, don't do it alone. Get an accountability person, right? So you have someone saying like, I don't know if you, like someone who can be honest with you. Not just, yes, a cheerleader, but also someone who's going to be like, yo, you're not doing your stuff. Like, just get back with it. So get an accountability partner. Get a coach, which is basically a paid accountability partner, but hopefully more importantly, someone who has already achieved what you set out to do. Like that to me, like I've seen people in Facebook groups be like, how do you know if the coach is right for you? Yes, personality, yes, all these things. Hire someone who has already achieved what you want to set out to do. And this answers your question, Andy. You need someone to be able to look at the path you're walking down and go, yep, keep going. Like, yep, I've walked that. Okay. Oh, watch out over there. This shiny object's coming at, like, because there's so many distractions. And one example that I'll give. So I teach moms how to freelance, whether it's becoming a virtual assistant, a bookkeeper, it doesn't matter. This is what I do. I teach moms how to freelance. Every month or so, I'll have someone come to me and be like, I just saw this ad from Jenna Kutcher, or Amy Porterfield, or these amazing online entrepreneurs. We've all seen them. We all know their names. Like, they're brilliant. And they say I need to have an email list. And I'm like, no, stop, time out. Like that, you don't need to have everything. So when it comes to simplifying, see, now I told you I'm going to answer your question. When it comes to simplifying, don't try to do everything that you see everybody else doing. Because just because you see other people doing it, one, guess what? They're probably not doing it by themselves. They've already gotten to a point in their business where they're outsourcing. When I started the Free Mama movement, I was in a Facebook group. That's it. Now that I have team, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Pinterest. I couldn't do all that by myself. There's no way. It would take all of my time to try to do that, and I would have no money coming in because you're going to be hustling, you're going to be working way too hard. So pick the next thing. What's the one next thing? Hopefully you have a coach or an accountability partner going, yes, that's it, keep going, right? But in terms of simplifying, my best advice is stop trying to do all the things. Do you actually need an email list? Why? Most of my freelancers don't. To get 3 to 5 retainer clients, you do not need an email list of thousands of people. You need to be at a networking event. You need to be talking to people. That's it. We're talking really small numbers. If you're wanting to sell an online program to thousands of people, get your email list. Like, yes, please hurry. Like, start building it. But I think in this world of social media, not only distraction, yes, but also comparison. So get crystal clear on where you're going. Maybe not the final destination, but what's the first destination? Is it to quit your job? Okay, cool. What do you need coming in to quit your job? Cool. Count backwards. What are those things? Like, what are those steps you need to actually get there? Everything else is noise. Write it down, right? I told you can have your notebook with your long to-do list, laundry list. Just don't use that every day, right? Use your daily 5 every day. Keep that there in your back pocket. You'll get there. Maybe you want to launch a podcast someday. Awesome. Totally great. Is that going to make you money and help you quit your job? Probably not when you're just getting started if you don't have an audience, right? It's not bad. You can want to do it, but you gotta, there's a process, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So in terms of simplifying, my best advice is focus on the next thing that you need to do, not all the things, because nobody needs to do all the things. And if you see someone doing all the things, I can guarantee you they're not even doing it. It's their team doing it.
Right.
So try not to get caught up in the comparison game. I know it's hard, by the way. I know how hard this is.
Yeah, and that's such a good point because there's so many, like you said, like I'm paraphrasing, right? But don't focus on everything, just focus on the next thing. And it is so easy a lot of the time to get like, let's say overwhelmed, which in my experience it's a choice in our minds to be overwhelmed. It's like, okay, yes, maybe we need to outsource or whatever, but like, right, you're talking about focus. You're talking about like honing in and focusing. And yes, maybe there's all these other things we eventually need to do, but right now what I'm going to do is this one thing. And I speak from massive experience in having a hard time focusing too. So I totally get it. It's just, there's like, oh my God, there's all these shiny things and these things to do and blah, blah, blah. But if we focus in on that one next thing, absolutely, then that's how we build.
Get to those other things too. I mean, this is what I see. I see this so much with moms. We have a lot to say. We love our kids. We love our lot. Like, it's all beautiful. And so many people are like, well, I'm going to start a blog. And I'm like, that's really cool. That's awesome. Do you need to make money? Okay, cool. We're going to save the blog for later. We're going to start making money. If you have extra time, awesome. Start blogging about it, right? Like, you can do that. But I think we have to have realistic expectations of how people are actually making money. And, there are some really great blogging resources out there, but there's a business behind the blog, right? And so anybody, like, just make sure you're honing in. Because remember, the difference between a hobby in a business is that you're actually making money. So if you want to blog the blog because you love it, like, who am I to stop you? Go to town, share your life stories. Like, somebody needs to read it and hear your message for sure. But if your goal is to quit your job, you will never hear me say, well, you should start a blog. Like, you know what I mean? There's faster paths to cash. And clearly we were talking about freelancing. So I am all in with the service provider because I genuinely believe each and every one of us is already equipped with a skill that someone else will hire us for. I really believe that. And so, there's e-commerce and all these things. So if you're watching and you're like, I sell products, lady, like, I don't know anything about e-commerce, but I do know that the reason that I love freelancing so much or having a service-based business is that there is almost no barrier for entry. If you have a computer and you have Wi-Fi, you are ready to get started today. All you have to do is decide, like, literally that's it, and then start taking action. So I think that's why I'm so passionate too about what I teach, just because literally anyone can do it. There's no, you don't have to do all these other things. But yeah, focus is important, and simplifying is a big part of that. One of our missions at the Free Mama is that I believe, and obviously I'm talking to moms, but I believe we humans can have it all. I talk a lot in my book about the fact that having it all does not mean doing it all. It's actually almost the opposite. So like, hone in on like what do you absolutely have to do, and then delegate or outsource the rest. Like, I'm just get it off your plate. I'm telling you, you'll be so much happier.
Awesome. This is so good. So here's a question for you, and this really gets into mindset a little bit.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about, a lot of people as entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs come up against a glass ceiling, right? The psychological glass ceiling, or limiting beliefs, or a roadblock. Like, I made this much money in my business last year and I really want to make $50,000 more this year, but you're coming up against something and something's stopping you. So any suggestions there for our entrepreneurs?
Suggestions, I don't know. Thoughts, many. Yeah, I always say that in this world of business, right, whether you're a freelancer, an entrepreneur, I mean, however you categorize yourself, or however you feel, right, whatever you want to step into at this moment, it's like 90% mindset, like 90, y'all. Like, if you're listening to this, like, I'm telling you, it is that high. And then the skills and the strategy, like, that's like 10%, right? Like, we've all got something. I already said that. Like, you're already qualified. You're ready to go. Yes, professional development. Yes, lifelong learner. I'm all in on all that. But it's this stuff between the ears that's going to hold you back. It's also why the Daily 5 is effective. Like, if you're like me and you live and die by your calendar, and you say tomorrow, number 1 is Facebook Live, and I don't get to move on to 2 through 5, and you have that self-discipline, guess what? You might be scared to do it, but you're going to find a way to do it anyway. And I think when it comes to mindset, I've gotten way outside my comfort zone, like, to the point that if I'm comfortable, I'm scared. Like, truly, my new mindset thing is that I'm scared that something's wrong if I'm comfortable, because I've gotten so comfortable being uncomfortable in the last year and a half. I've done live webinars. I've done live webinars where nobody shows up. Like, I mean, a lot of stuff. I started doing Facebook Lives in the last year and a half. I had never done that before. Yes, I'm an extrovert, but it's still scary. It's hard. Like, it's hard stuff. And so I guess my advice to you is, everybody gets scared. Beyonce gets scared. Oprah gets scared. Ellen gets scared. NFL, like, everybody has fears. We all do. But the difference between people who are successful and people who are not is that people who are successful find a way to do it anyway. That's the secret. It's not even that they crush their fears or they find a way to make their fears go away. Because guess what? Doing Facebook Lives, it's not scary to me anymore. I've been doing it a year and a half. But guess what? There's still stuff that is scary. There's new stuff. There's stuff I didn't even know existed a year and a half ago, that now I'm faced with something and I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to pee my pants. Like, I'm feeling very nervous about that. But I've trained my mind, much like a muscle, that, okay, you're feeling anxious. Okay, cool. We're going to get through this. You're going to live on the other side. Like, it might go well. It might not, right? Like, my first Facebook Live, I go back and I look at them now and I'm like, wow, those were not good. But guess what? There's no fast pass. Like, there is no shortcut. So if you want to get better at something, if you want to have $1 million business and right now you have made $0 in your business, you're going to have to start doing the hard things. No one's going to do it for you. It's not going to fall into place. And so again, to me, having a positive, strong mindset. It's not about not having fears. It's not about never experiencing imposter syndrome. It's not about making these things go away. It's about acknowledging it and going, you're not serving me, goodbye. And I'm going to go, like, I've got a business to build. Like, I've got goals to accomplish. I've got a job to leave. I've got a family to provide for. And finding, like, you got to dig deep and you got to do it anyway. And then getting faster at it, right? Maybe you sat on that Facebook Live for 3 days. The next time you're only going to think about it for an hour, and then you're just going to hit record. Like, you only have to be brave for a minute. That's the thing, too, about things that hold us back. Oftentimes it only takes that like, hit go. Oh my gosh, live, you're still breathing. Like, it's okay, so just, and know that you will get better. But the only way to get better is to start taking action now. I think that's like the big one. So, yeah, I could talk a lot about this topic too, because the other thing I guess that I'll share from my experience is that it's not going to stop. Right? This isn't like a light switch. It's not something where you're like, okay, I'm going to work on my mindset. And I'm going to like read this book, and okay, I'm going to work on my relationship with money, or like, I'm going to do all these things, and then like I'm going to switch the light on, and like now I have this great mindset. No. It's a constant. Remember, it's more like a muscle. Like you have to work at it all the time. And even just last week, I had a really trying experience in my business, and it knocked me down for it was the first time it had happened, and it knocked me down for 2 full days. Like, I just felt sorry for myself. And I'm alive, and I was on a call this morning, and they were like, what's your win from last week? And I'm like, I showed up today. Like, that was my win, is that yes, I got knocked down, but I got back up, and now I know okay, this is what I can do better next time, or this is how I can kind of change that, and then just learning from those experience. But it's a tough one. I am not a self-proclaimed mindset coach at all. I actually have a mindset coach, and I guess if I could leave with one tangible thing, because I'm really good on I like the practical stuff. I could talk theory too, but I like leaving somebody with no, this is how you do this. I would say focus on what's actually true. Focus on the facts. I think a lot of times, we can tell ourselves stories. The noise between the ears, it can get really loud. Whether it's, oh my gosh, what's my boss going to think when they find out I'm starting this side hustle? Or what's my mom going to think? Or, why would anybody pay me that much money? There's so much noise. We are not nice to ourselves, most of us. We tell ourselves, and so how can you flip the narrative? By focusing on what's true, right? Well, no one's going to give me money to do this thing. Well, that's not true. My job pays me every day to do that thing. People already give me money, right? Or, if you think you're not good at something and other people have told you are, focus on what's actually true versus where are you just kind of being hard on yourself? Where are you not serving yourself in a positive way? And then again, I'm big on reframing, which I don't know if that's a familiar concept for everybody, but if you tell yourself one story and it's negative, how can you retell yourself that same story in a positive way? So me from last week, right? I could be oh my gosh, I let this JV partner down and I totally failed. Or I can reframe it as we learned a lot together. This was new for both of us. And next time we do it, we're totally going to crush it because we learned that this worked and this didn't work. Right. And even better kind of thing. So how can you just make those little tweaks? Again, it's not about getting it right every time, but it's about having the awareness so that you can improve. Because my favorite quote, and it's a mindset quote, so it's on this topic, but my favorite quote is Henry Ford, whether you think you can or think you cannot, you're right. And actually, I don't have it on today, but one of my team members for Christmas gave me a bracelet, and it's engraved on the inside because I say it all the time. And so I guess that's what I want to say to everybody watching is you're here because you want to be a successful entrepreneur. Are you telling yourself in your head that you can't do it? Are you falling back on the excuses of why it's not going to work or why you're not going to be successful? It sounds a little woo-woo, but you're you are outlining your destiny if that's what you're doing. So tell yourself a better story. Tell yourself a story of all the amazing people you're going to serve and all the amazing, impact you're going to make in the world and all the things that are going to go right. Because if you start to have that belief in yourself, then you can do anything. I really believe that.
Well, I think you could be a mindset coach too, because you just crushed that question. Yeah, I think it's also true, and it's a massive part of our business and what we do. And I think everyone also should realize that and this is kind of a human tendency for us to once again compare ourselves to other people who have more or are more successful or something, but every other entrepreneur deals with the same stuff. We're all human. We all have limiting beliefs and thoughts and stuff spinning through our mind. It is not unique to us. We are not special. We are not like the only one that has that belief that we're not good enough. So it's, that's kind of fun to realize too, is that we all, you got knocked down last week and you're up again. And I mean, there's countless opportunities or thoughts of when I've been knocked down in my business. I mean, there's tons of times where it's like, oh crap, that just didn't work as well as I wanted it to, or it didn't work at all, or it totally failed, or whatever. Just pick back up,
Yep.
Dust off.
Learn from it, right?
Learn from it,
You're
and
always getting better.
Yeah.
I like to. I'm sure I'm borrowing this from someone, but I do not remember who. But when I look at people who I'm like, oh my gosh, like I want to be like them, or what, people that I really admire, things like that. I actually now think about how many times they must have been knocked down.
Yeah.
Because nobody gets to be that big, successful, famous, whatever it is for you, whoever you're looking to as kind of like your model of success. Nobody gets to be there unscarred. Like, you know what I mean? So I just look at them and instead of being like, oh, I wish I had what they had, I'm like, dang, they're probably bruised. Like they've been beat up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because nobody just has like an easy ride to the top. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
Just another way to look at it.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. I love it. This has been amazing. Thank you so much. I'm eating this all up, and I'm sure everyone else is too. And I would love it now if you would talk a little bit about a program that you have. So there's a button below this video that takes everyone over to your website. And what is this fabulous program and way to work with you, Lauren?
Yeah, so this is our quick start freelance success kit. So if this whole idea of freelancing is new to you, if you have been sitting back going like, I really want to work for myself, maybe you have a story like mine and you've tried other stuff and it didn't work for you and you're like, I'm ready to go all in on myself. This is definitely for you. It is going to include a bunch of stuff about getting started as a freelancer. So you're not only going to get like an inside look at my life as a freelancer. Like I'm talking hands-on. You guys heard me today. Like I'm not just going to throw a bunch of theory at you and be like, go for it. No. You're going to get really tangible stuff. You're going to get walkthroughs of certain software programs that I've used in my freelancing business. You're going to get a proposal template. You're going to get all kinds of goodies. Like just trust me on this. It's going to be all kinds of goodies. But for this, and we've literally, like, this is not just a marketing thing. Like, I've literally never done this before. So we usually sell this for a certain amount. I'm totally going to still do that. But we are going to throw in all kinds of amazing stuff on top of this. So I actually have 3 bonuses for you guys. This is such like a webinar thing, but this is true. I've never done this before. So you guys are actually going to get a copy of my book. You're also going to get a copy of my productivity planner. The productivity planner is a 90-day series of the Daily 5. So if you liked that idea and you're like, ooh, I kind of want to try that. Like, I think that could really help me not procrastinate or help shift the needle, right? As we said, you're actually going to get that 90-day planner when you sign up as well. And then we're also going to include one of my most popular trainings because, again, I think so many people online talk in theory, like this is how you do this, but they're not actually like in the weeds with you going, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this. And so we have my prospect to paid video training as well. So this is literally how to get leads in your freelancing business, all the way walking them through signing the contract and like onboarding them. So it's every step in between. So if you're like, I don't actually know what this looks like in real life, you will know. It will be amazing. So I love this program. We've had literally hundreds of women go through it and launch their freelancing business successfully. This is also, by the way, available for men. Just be aware that I say the word mama, but I'm not teaching anything you don't need to know. That's a branding thing.
Yeah, can remind you of your mama, or whatever,
Yeah, get very secure in your masculinity. It's all good.
Thank you so much. This is awesome, and I appreciate so much, Tammy, and I appreciate your extra bonuses, and the productivity thing sounds amazing, and this is just awesome. And it also makes me realize, right, so for people watching, whether you have your specific business right now that you're running, or maybe you want more money on the side, this is something you could do right as a side hustle kind of scenario too. Or if you have a job. Okay.
Yeah, totally. One of the best things about freelancing is that you have complete control, right? The exact thing I was missing in a 9 to 5, You get to set your rates, you get to set your hours, you get to decide how many clients you take on. So whether you want to make a couple $100 or $10,000 a month, it's completely possible as a service provider, freelancer. Like it's beautiful. I love it.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, please, everyone, if you're interested, if this is something you want to take on with Lauren, clearly she is awesome to work with, as you know, after this last 45-ish minutes. And yeah, click the button below and go check that out. So thank you so much. This has been awesome and amazing. And I love your energy and the work that you do in the world. And are there any last insights, anything you feel like we've left out?
I don't think so. I guess I'm going to reiterate the quote because, you know, with this whole summit being about being a successful entrepreneur, and we just kind of ended up talking about mindset, you guys, whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you're right. And there are people out there who need to hear what you have to say. There are people out there who need your help as a service provider. There's people who need you. Seriously, they're waiting for you. And so don't get caught up in the comparison. Don't get caught up in these crazy to-do lists that actually aren't serving you. Just go get it done. Like, go do it is my thing. Just be an action taker. That's we have a Facebook group, and one of our we have 3 rules to be in the group. That's it. Like, there's 3 rules: be positive, be supportive, take action. That's it. That's all you need. So if you are capable of doing those 3 things, you can be successful as a business owner.
Shazam! I love it. Thank you. Thank you, Lauren. You're awesome, amazing. And thank you so much for being here and talking to our successful entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. And everyone, thanks so much for tuning into Lauren's class. And here, once again, is to our journey to being successful entrepreneurs. Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Woohoo! Yay. Oh, you're so good.